Hey guys, Koukun here. We are at 82 Ormond Street in Thorold. This is a purpose-built 8-plex that my friend Dragos has listed. This is a purpose-built property built probably in the 70s or the 80s. It has 6 two-bedroom units and 2 one-bedroom units. And the interesting thing about this property is we're going to show you there's actually a potential to put a 9th unit. And especially for this type of building, a commercial property that's valued based on the income it can produce, if we can add a 9th unit, the value of the building just skyrockets because a bank will consider that extra income to improve the value of the building. I'm going to go through the financials and run the projections based on the different things we discussed in terms of improving the building, renovating it, as well as adding that 9th unit. So hope you enjoy. All right, today we have a little bit of a treat for you. We have a 8-unit apartment building that is currently available for sale in the city of Thorold in the Niagara region. So my close friend Dragos, who's a realtor here at Evoke Realty, has this property listed for sale right now. It's a purpose-built 8-unit apartment building. It's a 2-story walk-up, and we're going to do a detailed analysis on this deal. As you can see here, this is the public realtor.ca listing. So you can see it's a 2-story walk-up, meaning that the basement windows are quite large, so you get a lot of natural light down there. And you can see this is the style of the building. They have a total of, I believe, 11 parking spots. So 9 that are currently assigned to the 8 units, and then 2 visitor parking spaces. The interesting thing that we came to realize when we were actually at the property is that currently there's a mechanical room, a storage room, and a laundry room that's the space of the 1-bedroom units on the main floor, and the second floor is directly beneath them. Right now, the property has electric baseboard heating for all the units, and all the units have separate hydro. They pay for their own heating. So there's very little in the actual utility room. There's a hot water tank, there's the electrical meters for each unit, and there's a sump pump, but that's basically it for the mechanical room, and it's taking up, a large amount of space in the basement. So one of the scenarios that we're going to discuss is actually moving the electrical from the room it's in now over to the current laundry room so that we free up space. And we're thinking at the very least we should be able to create a bachelor suite. Once we get a little bit into it, potentially it can be made into a 1-bedroom unit, but the space is just a little bit tight to do that. But definitely a bachelor unit can be done, and there's already plumbing there. There's actually already a washroom in the storage room, so it'll be no problem to convert that into a full washroom and to add a kitchen and make it into a bachelor suite. So yeah, a little bit about the property. Right now it's a 30-year-old building, 7,700 square feet, so quite a large property. And the interesting thing is it's in the city of Thorold. Now, we don't do a whole lot of deals in the city of Thorold, just simply from the residential investing side. The city doesn't quite allow us to add in-law suites into properties that are in the basements, and there's a good few restrictions when it comes to the duplex conversion type of strategy. And for properties that have 4 units or less, there's rental licensing as well that you have to sort of apply for separately. But for commercial properties, so properties with more than 4 units, there's no rental licensing. So it's actually a nice benefit to own a building like this in the city of Thorold. So let's go into our profitability calculator. So again, this is 82 Ormond Street. So right now it's listed at 1.85. It's been on the market for a couple of weeks, so it hasn't sold right away. I'm guessing that we can maybe negotiate it down to about 1.75, but that'll come up in the negotiation, right? Based on what the seller is willing to accept, what the buyer is willing to pay. So that's not something we know for certain right now, but on a purchase price of this is less than a 5% reduction. So I think potentially that may be the price we'll be able to purchase it at. Currently, it's rented out for $7,860 a month. So it's about, between the 8 units, about $982 per unit. Just broke down the numbers here in order to purchase it. 25% down payment, land transfer tax, legal fees, broker fee. On a deal like this, if you're getting a commercial mortgage, you'll need to pay about 1% of the loan amount to a mortgage broker unless you go directly to one of the banks. So anyways, I've bundled that in there. So all in all, to close a deal like this, you will roughly need about $500,000. So it's about $489,000. Definitely want to have some contingency, some separate funds set aside for emergencies, but this is the closing costs out of pocket expense. So If you can get a standard A mortgage at 2.5% and probably a 25-year amortization, this is what your numbers look like on the purchasing side. So your mortgage payment, your property tax, these are just the numbers provided by Dragos, the listing agent. During the process of purchasing a property like this, during the due diligence, we will likely ask for receipts, get our own quote for insurance, and then really get a breakdown of the past 12 months of expenses, just to make sure that these are on track. So you can see here, this is the interesting part about this building and probably most purpose-built apartment buildings that are being sold right now in Ontario. Based on its current purchase price, if you finance 75% of the purchase price with a traditional A mortgage, you're going to be negative about $470 per month in cash flow. And that doesn't include vacancy, property management, maintenance. So these are just the fixed expenses, the known monthly costs. And your cap rate based on the purchase price after just the fixed expenses is 3.7%, which is actually pretty low even for a building like this. But the upside potential, because it's a purpose-built building, is really high. So that's why they're able to command such a high purchase price based on the existing rent, just because all the rents are significantly below market rent. You can see it's under $1,000 for units that should be renting, once we go into it, it'll probably be renting anywhere from $1,300 to $1,600 per unit. So it's definitely a lot of upside there. So this is as it is, just the property as it is. Option A is we're going to do cash for keys for all 8 units that are currently rented. And our renovation budget is about $25,000 per unit. And I've put another $80,000 budget to create that bachelor unit. The big variable here that I'm not 100% sure of is the cost to move the electrical from the room it's in now over to the laundry room. And the reason I'm not sure about that is it's quite a bit of wiring, right? It's the electrical for the entire building. But basically, my estimate to get the rest of the work done may be similar to the renovations we're doing on the other units. Probably about $25,000 to put in kitchen, bathroom. Plumbing for the bathroom's already there, right? So it'll be easy enough to run plumbing for the kitchen. And maybe a little bit more in terms of drywall finishes, so even $35,000. So we still have about close to $45,000 to $50,000 worth of space just to move the electrical. Again, we'll have to get a real quote from an electrician to really know the final cost, but my hope is that that's more than enough for the cost of moving all the electricals from the current maintenance room. The above grade 2-bedroom unit, so we're looking at doing full cosmetic updates, adding AC, adding in-suite laundry if there's space for it, right? And really going with nicer finishes, getting a higher end quality of unit to almost resemble a condominium. We're hoping to get about $1,600 in rent from the 2-bedroom units, about $1,300 in the 1-bedroom units. These are the ones above grade. And then there's 2 2-bedroom units in the basement. I'm going to estimate at around $1,400. And then the new bachelor suite we create in the basement, I'm going to be really conservative and budget about $900. So in total, this building, once it's fully turned over, really optimized, should be bringing in about $12,700 per month. And the cost of doing this is about $280,000 in renovations, and I'm budgeting about $80,000 for cash for keys, so about $10,000 per unit. I think that's significantly on the higher end because sometimes even just offering $5,000, you may be able to get half the units vacant, right? So I'm estimating quite a bit higher. Even the renovation budget, there's some padding in there, so definitely you may be able to get it done for a little bit less if you source the materials, find the individual trades, and try to keep the budget down. There's definitely room to reduce that, but I've put in a healthy amount so that for sure you'll be able to get it done within that budget. So all in all, your cost purchase price of 1.75, like we discussed, a little bit of a discount, and then if we get the renovations and the cash for keys done, your all-in cost on a deal like this is about $2.11 million. And the option A that I'm going to describe is if you get CMHC insured financing on this deal. So with multifamily properties, you can get CMHC insured mortgages that can give you up to 40-year amortizations. You can get sub 2% interest rates, and it's a very attractive financing option. The only thing is there's a little bit more of legwork that goes into getting a mortgage like this. A little bit more work. You may pay a little bit more to your mortgage broker for doing all of that for you. But all in all, that is the best financing option. The only challenging part about CMHC insured mortgages, from my understanding, is it's hard to get really the full market value of the property. So it's hard to get all of your appraised value from the property, it'll be significantly less than what you can potentially sell it for, or even get in other financing options. So what I'm estimating is that you just get it appraised at your purchase plus your improvements, so your total cost, not any of the equity you've created. And on a deal like this, my estimate is once the work is done, it's got to be worth at least 2.7 million or higher, based on even a 4.5% cap rate. And these deals sometimes sell even, at 4%, right? So I think it's relatively conservative that we can get it appraised at that, or the value of the building would be at that $2.7 million value. And you're just in option A, just letting that equity sit there. Your goal is to create the maximum amount of cash flow on this deal. So the new mortgage, once you pull out basically your renovation cost, you're left in this deal just under 600,000. Your mortgage payment is actually going to be less than what you started with. Your income has been close to double what it was existing. The rest of the expenses the same. Our monthly cash flow here is about $5,500 a month. Very strong monthly cash flow. Now, we're not accounting for property management. We're not accounting for vacancies, maintenance, repairs, right? So this is a gross cash flow amount. The cap rate on your purchase plus your improvements, so this is your cost. The return on your investment, so to speak, is about 5.8%. So what that means is based on your cost, you're producing a return just under 6%, which is amazing for a deal like this, for a purpose-built multifamily property. Net operating income, you can see it's all the way up to $127,000 per year, so very strong numbers. So option B is a little bit different. This is more of the BRRRR strategy. So you're trying to pull out as much of your capital as possible, leave as little in the deal as possible, reduce your monthly cash flow. You're not too interested in the cash flow. You just want to get the equity out, roll it over into the next deal. So the income expense numbers are all the same for the most part, right? The strategy is the same. We're going to do the same thing in terms of adding the extra unit. The only difference, we're going to go to a regular commercial lender, not a CMHC insured mortgage, but just a regular commercial lender that's going to appraise the building based on the income and give us the highest possible appraised value. So even here, I'm being a little bit conservative. Even though we can sell it for 2.7, I'm estimating that the appraisal comes back at about $2.5 million. We're going to estimate that they're going to be willing to go up to 75% loan to value on this building. And in this scenario, you're going to be left with just under $300,000 of your own money left in the deal. So it's not a perfect BRRRR, right? But just based on the numbers we calculated, you would be able to pull out everything except $300,000. And you know what? By the time this project is done, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year later, if values have increased during that time, then potentially you'll just be able to pull out all of your money from this deal. So with this scenario, we're going to estimate 2.5% mortgage rate. We're going to estimate about a 25-year amortization. You can see a significant difference in the mortgage payment here because of that 40-year amortization relative to the 25-year amortization. So that's the number of years to pay off the mortgage. So in this scenario, a ton of money is going to pay down the mortgage every month. However, that dramatically reduces your cash flow. So in this scenario, your cash flow is $1,850 a month. Now, this is before property management, vacancy, maintenance, and repairs. So this is your gross cash flow, so significantly less. But keep in mind, you own now a $2.7 million building with under $300,000 of your own money. So it's a crazy, crazy deal. So in this scenario, we're going to go first through the profitability of this deal. So I'm not estimating that any of this cash flow is actually profit. $1,850 seems to be high, but on a building like this, if you hire a property manager, if you have vacancies, maintenance and repair, there's going to be costs involved in running the building that are not fixed costs. So I'm going to estimate that basically all of this money is buffer money, money that builds up in the account and pays for any expenses that come up along the way. So all of your profit in this scenario I'm calculating is based on the mortgage paydown and the equity appreciation. And for equity, I'm just putting a flat 5% appreciation each year based on this after repair value. So it's going to be 5% per year. This building, for example, the seller bought this building 5 years ago for $850,000. He's gonna sell it in 5 years now for close to double of what he paid for it. And he actually didn't do any renovations, didn't turn over any units, didn't do anything. So he's actually doubling his initial investment and probably getting a 500% return on his down payment, right? So it's a crazy good deal for him. But you know what? He did the right thing. He bought into the market and he held on to it for the long term, and now he gets the benefit of that. If you look at this deal, the profitability in year 1 is about 190,000, year 3 is about 600,000, year 5 is a million, and then year 10 is about 2.3 million. And you can see as a percentage, a rate of return on the money you have in this deal, that 290,000, each year your average rate of return is somewhere between 65 to 80%, which is crazy if you think about it. So 65 to 80% rate of return on your money, and within 5 years you're going to create, so right up front here, between your cost and your after repair value, you've already created close to $600,000 of value. So you've created that, that's locked in, it's done. And now you're going to create about another $1 million in profit over the next 5 years. So you can see how even one deal like this, if you can put together the money, can make a massive difference in terms of your financial picture. Scenario A, the reason I wanted to show that is I wanted to show you this cash flow number. So what we're going to do, we're going to actually deduct that cash flow amount from this cash flow amount. So assuming that that 850 is the money being used for vacancy, repair, property management, just the miscellaneous costs, and the rest of the cash flow is your monthly profit. So in this deal, you're going to have about $43,000 of cash flow in year 1. You're going to have the mortgage pay down, the equity appreciation. You can see the pay down here is significantly less, close to half, because of that 40-year amortization. But the cash flow more than makes up for it because you're paying a lower interest rate. So in this deal, in this scenario, the profit is actually more than scenario 1 because you're paying a lesser interest rate. So you're making that cash flow, you're making the mortgage pay down, right? You get the same appreciation. The only difference is because you have a little bit more in the deal here, about 600,000, your rate of return is less. So you're making anywhere from 35% to 42% a year, which again, crazy good numbers. Like any investment that makes 30 to 40% over the long term is a ridiculous good deal. But in this scenario, you're also making a very strong cash flow. So if your goal in your investing is to have more cash flow versus more appreciation and equity buildup, maybe you're in the latter stages of your investing, you're selling off a few duplexes to buy a deal like this and you want a more stronger positive cash flow, this may be the scenario to go to. And yeah, with this is literally like a salary, right? 43,000 a year is nothing to laugh at. And you're still getting the benefit of the mortgage paid on, you're still getting the equity appreciation. Over the long term, this deal is still going to make, you know, in the next 10 years over 2.5 million, and you still get that initial lift on the purchase. So you're really getting a good, good solid return right up front for the work you do, and then you're creating that long-term benefit. So hope you found these scenarios helpful. I'll leave a link below. If you're interested in this deal, send us a message. We'll send you some PDFs with all these numbers, and we'll send you a copy of the listing as well. And if you're interested in taking a look at the property, let us know. We'll book a time to show you the property. But yeah, this is a property that's currently for sale. As of the time I'm making this video, maybe in a couple of weeks, it won't be available anymore. So if you're watching it right when this video is released, definitely let us know if you're interested. If you're just getting started on your journey and you're just interested in investing in the Niagara region, check out our beginner's guide to investing in the Niagara region. You can find that at www.niagarainvestor.ca. Yeah, this deal is an amazing deal. I would honestly be buying this property myself if I had the funds available. Right now, I just have my funds tied up in a few duplex conversion projects, but this is definitely the next stage of the investing process, right? A deal like this is definitely one that takes a lot more capital upfront to purchase a deal like this, but it's definitely I would say the evolution of real estate investing, getting to a little bit of a larger scale where you have a little bit more tied up in one deal, but then you're able to create a bigger lift in that deal. So hope you found that helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Until next time, all the best.